Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to Faith and Politics with Eileen. I am going live currently everywhere now. Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to Faith and Politics with me, Eileen. Hey, y'all. I've been on a little hiatus during the holidays. I am refreshed. Clearly, ate enough turkey for everyone. Did y'all have a good holidays? I hope you did. Welcome to Faith and Politics with me, Eileen. We are here on episode 39. It is Open Your Eyes, New Orleans. I'm over it. I hope you're over it too. We are over things getting brushed under the rug and nobody saying anything. We're over being gaslit. New Orleans has been gaslit for years, and they're still trying to do it with this new administration coming in. And it's not about the people in that administration. It's more of they had a part to play with where New Orleans is now, and everyone's acting like, oh, they're just inheriting this, as this is like a brand new person or a brand new group of people that are taking office, and they knew nothing about what's going on. So we are going to get into that today. This is episode 39 with me, Eileen, Faith and Politics. And we're going to talk about opening your eyes. So we're going to talk about economic development that's going on in the city of New Orleans. I had a resident question with regard to what does the budget committee actually do. So I put up a post about that. I'm going to chat about that here because I think y'all should know what the budget committee on the city council is responsible for per the city charter and what is actually on their website. And then also there was a parade that paraded this past week. And I just wanted people to know what it is because I am a Christian. And so a lot of times we live our daily lives and, we maybe only go to church on Saturday or Sunday. And then throughout the rest of the week, we kind of just like, glaze over it. But we can't just glaze over it because number one, the world is spiritual. And number two, the Lord doesn't just end at the door of church when you walk out the building. And so actually we are the church, we are the building. So there's a lot of things I want to get into today. So that's just a wrap of what we're going to talk about because we need to start opening our eyes with regard to politics, with regard to what's going on around us. And we need to get in the game and pay attention. Even if it's not always physically being there, you can tap in online. You can connect to information and share it with your family and friends to make sure that everyone can really have a great understanding of what's going on in the city because it is a lot. So before I jump into all of those three things, I'm just going to remind you that, of course, I wrote a book for y'all. It's called Faith and Politics. So make sure you join in there. You can get the free PDF in my IG link. If you just go into the bio link, the free PDF is there. Share it with your family and friends. Share it with everybody. The more people who understand what's going on in city politics, the better we can referee from afar and the more we can hold them accountable. I think the reason why a lot of people are giving them a pass with regard to the budget problems right now is because they don't know the role of the city council in the budget. And so when you read and you really understand the role that they play in the budget process, you'll be like, wait, you can't get me with that because that's not true. And so a lot of people aren't telling truth or aren't giving full context or full truth because, just like when you were a little kid and somebody found out something wrong, are you going to tell on yourself? No, that generally is not going to happen. You're not going to tell on yourself. And so it's not about telling on people, but it is holding people accountable because if you are going to be the leadership of the next 4 years of the city, then you should be able to say, you know what, my bad. I'm sorry. I didn't get this right, but I'm going to get these next, 4 years right. And this is how we're going to do it differently. So because we haven't really seen that yet, it really gives me pause for the city of New Orleans and what's going to happen. So Faith in Politics is available. You can order them from me, pre-order. You can $15 through Cash App, Faith in Politics. You can get a signed copy. We have meetups throughout the year, and we can also purchase it on Amazon. So make sure you do that. I just want to say hey to everyone, TikTok, IG, YouTube, hey YouTube, and of course everyone listening on Podbean. So if you've ever missed an episode, you can make sure that you can listen anytime on Apple, YouTube, Spotify, iHeart, Amazon Music, Podbean, Player FM, Listen Notes, Podchaser, and Boomplay. So I know y'all don't want to miss an episode. This is episode 39. It is Open Your Eyes, and that's what we're about to do in New Orleans because I think a lot of people are over it. And I actually posted a post, and I was like, the era of sweeping stuff under the rug is over. New Orleans, they say, laissez les bon temps rouler. Like, we're the big easy, we're this. Well, we've done that for too long and it has not worked out well for us. So we need to get back in the game and make sure we really understand what's going on. So if you are interested in any other strategic development or consulting outreach for your business, please let me know. I do have Carter Business Development. I work on strategic plans, brands, rebrands, launch civic engagement initiatives, building communication platforms and engagement campaigns. And I was social media manager for the city of New Orleans for 3 years, from 2018 to 21, the first administration of this mayor, when a lot of people, residents will say, we got a lot of information that first administration. Well, you had a different comms team, and so I believe that was part of the reason as well. But I am doing outreach with our youth, so I really enjoy this. I'll put up some pictures with one of my last ones. I'm doing seminars for Government 101, community power, and faith and leadership. So if you're interested in any of those webinars or platforms or seminars, please let me know. We can do it, over webinar. If it's something that your group or organization, it may not be best to get in person just because of timing or whatever that is. But make sure you get in touch with me. My email is faithinpolitics504@gmail.com. That is faithinpolitics504@gmail.com. And of course, my phone number, 504-434-2827. You can contact me Monday through Friday, 9 to 4. So now that we've gotten a little bit of the podcast and the book information out the way, let's jump into what is going on, and that is opening your eyes. It is time for us to open our eyes. It is all around us. And when you read your Bible and it says those with ears to hear and eyes to see, you really don't take it as verbatim, because you're just like, yeah, whatever, until your eyes open and you see stuff that other people don't see. And you're like, wait, you don't see that? Like, how don't you see that? Or you start paying attention to stuff that other people don't see. And so if y'all have been paying attention and noticing, you have a lot of Christianity that is popping up. People are starting to read their Bible. And I suggest to you, each and every one of you, to read your Bible, because when you start reading your Bible, not kidding, that's how your eyes open up. Everybody wants to know, like, how do I get into the spiritual realm? How do I do all this and that? It is through the Bible, and that is the biggest okie doke that they have ever given us. The witchcraft and all that other stuff that New Orleans is known for, and that this region, voodoo, well, they get to the spiritual realm illegally. You're supposed to do it through the Holy Spirit. And when you just start reading your Bible, like, y'all, life changes. Like, when you realize that everything is spiritual, life changes and you start seeing things differently. So speaking of seeing things differently, this is what I wanted to bring up for everyone who is in New Orleans. And if you aren't in New Orleans, if you're listening to this from somewhere else, welcome. This is something that New Orleanians are dealing with. But I think we make light of so many things in parade fashion that there's a lot of people who don't take it seriously. When you genuinely come into agreement with something, it genuinely affects your life. And so this past weekend, there was a parade that hadn't gathered since before Katrina, which I thought was kind of nice. And then it came back up and I was like, oh Lord. And so I'm going to pull it up here and give you the breakdown of what it is. And then I'm going to read the 2 articles about it. I'm going to read the article straight out of the newspaper, and then I'm going to read it straight off of their website. So you tell me what I'm missing. And so I want you to listen with your spiritual ears and pay attention. So there is a new parade that or came back, and it's called Krampus. It was I'm just going to go, because I don't want to add anything into this. So I'm just going to read directly what this was in the New Orleans, NOLA.com Gambit. So Krampus, NOLA, Noloff is what they call it. So for those with ears to hear, the gruesome alpine half-demon Krampus arrives to scare naughty children before the holidays. And in the crew of Krampus parade, he's accompanied by a host of holiday characters and spirits, including the Sisters of Yule's Barbagazi and Swampus. The parade features more than 200 costume marchers, throws a Toys for Tot float, collecting donations and more. Okay, So that's what it says in the news article. And remember, we're talking about open your eyes, New Orleans, because there's so much stuff, spiritual stuff going on around you, and like we're paying zero attention. And so this goes into why I'm having my spiritual takeover challenge with the city of New Orleans. And so I'll get to that after this and the importance of it. So again, this is straight out of the newspaper article. The gruesome alpine half-demon Krampus arrives to scare naughty children before the holidays. Okay, so that's out the newspaper. So if you go to, actually, I'm going to go here really quickly. If you look up what is Krampus, all I did was put Krampus, and this is what came up. A demonic figure from Alpine folklore appearing as a horned furry monster with chains and bells. He accompanies St. Nicholas on December 15th to punish misbehaved children, contrasting with St. Nick's reward system. So, number 2 says it's a demon. Okay. So, number 3, I'm going to the Crew of Krampus website. And this is what they say directly. Let's see. I'm going to hit the button. Okay, here we go. Parade info. Wait, Crew of Krampus. Okay, I was like, wait, I had it. It went away. Okay. Only in New Orleans. Yeah, sadly. Only in New Orleans would you find such a mix of cultures blending their age-old traditions. In keeping with true European Krampuslauf, known as Krampus Run, the crew will maintain many of the traditions found in Alpine villages. Our evening parade of Krampuslauf will be led by Krampus, the demon, complete with switches and St. Nicholas, accompanied by a host of other creatures and folklore legends, like Fra Perchta, Yule Cat, I can't pronounce these, y'all, and forgive me. And it ends with our Halloween character, Swampus. Completely unique to New Orleans is our very own Sisters of Shush. Shush stands for S-H-E, harkens him. I guess that's like a muse. And when you see the women in all white, you know Krampus is not far behind. They are very beautiful, but don't let that fool you. They are out to punish the naughty. Misbehave or make a noise in their presence, and you just may lose your soul. Okay. These unique, now I said listen with your spiritual eyes and ears. This crew of Krampus characters will help give the parade a unique New Orleans twist. It wouldn't be a proper Krampuslauf without some horns on your head, clinking chains, and ringing bells. Okay. Adding to New Orleans flavor, while dark, earthy, and scary are a huge part of the Krampuslauf, we want to put a New Orleans twist on things. Think gloomy and frightening meets bright and funky. So you're making something demonic into something fun? Okay. Not only will we have the traditional Alpine characters, demons, but we also welcome angels, fairies, elves, woodland creatures, and whatever else your imagination dreams up that would be in a Krampuslauf. The crew's official colors are Hollyberry Red, Black, Coal, and St. Nicholas Gold. So if you have trouble dreaming up a costume, you can at least sport some festive crew colors. Now, a crew would be lost without its king to lead its way, just as Krampus would be lost without the guidance of St. Nick's. Each year, we introduce our honorary St. Nick's to kick off the festivities and close a parade. Okay, now this is what I wanted to get into because the mission of what anyone does or the purpose of what they do is important. So this is the purpose of the Krampus parade, the crew. This is what they say on their website. This is not something I'm making up. To support cultural understanding, promote social inclusion, and to contribute to the well-being of children in our community. How does it do that? Our goal is to establish a core group of enthusiastic individuals that are passionate about sharing the Krampus tradition here in New Orleans through a walking parade. With a solid base and dedicated following, the Crew of Krampus Parade and associated festivities will grow to be a must-attend event. Okay, now let's go back to what Krampus is. A demonic figure from Alpine folklore appearing as a horned furry monster with chains and bells. My point is, for those with eyes to see and ears to hear, we have a new parade in New Orleans that dress up like demons and parade throughout our streets. And they're inviting you and your children to dress up like demons and to parade around the streets. And legit, if you further down and read, they literally said to release chaos in the streets. My point is, if you're a Christian, you don't care about anything I'm saying. But my point is, Christians, it's in our faces and you're not paying attention. And you are engaging in things you should not be engaging in. And my point is, open your eyes. Open your eyes in everyday activities. Like, I really want you to start paying attention to what's going around you and start thinking like the world is spiritual. Okay, so if this is a good and evil thing, which team is it on? Because we aren't paying attention and there's so many things that are infiltrating our neighborhoods and we have no idea. So, with me saying all of that, I do want to hype up the spiritual takeover challenge of the city of New Orleans. I've been walking the city of New Orleans. As y'all know, it's kind of been raining and cold these last couple of days, so it's been on and off that I've been out as much, but still going out and making sure that we take back the streets of New Orleans. So I encourage each and every one of you that when you go put out your trash, walk your dog, or whatever it is, walk your block, walk 2 blocks, walk 3 blocks, take back the city of New Orleans and pray. Pray the Our Father. If you don't know anything else to pray, just say, Jesus, help us. You can say that the whole time you want. Just, Jesus, help us. The city needs help on every level, literally needs help on every level, but we really need to take back our block. And I know spiritually we can do it, and it's crazy because when I put up that post, I really didn't expect any feedback other than, people just making it known what exactly it was, because we don't know what we participate in. And it is legit a parade about demons. Like, it says it. And so for me pointing it out, what's the problem with that? You say it on your website. So it is what it is. It's a parade of demons. And as a Christian, I don't want to be involved in that. And so other Christians should know what's going on and what they're participating in. And so open your eyes, New Orleans, because it is time to take our city back spiritually. We have been known internationally for voodoo and witchcraft, and it's over. Has it been working out for us? New Orleans, has it been working out for us? No, I want a revival. I want some good things to happen. I want a change in our economic development. And so we're actually going to hit that next, because economic development in the city of New Orleans has been on a downturn for years, honestly, years. I'm not going to, we have, actually, I am going to say it because I said it during the campaign. For those who don't know, I did run for mayor. I ran to bring attention to a lot of different issues that they had in the city. And also, I believe that we need a native New Orleanian to run our city. And so with that being said, one of the things that I brought up during the election is that our current mayor-elect has been the chair of the Economic Development and Special Projects Committee for the past 8 years in the city of New Orleans. And so with that being the case, chairing the committee, she's responsible for making sure, actually, I'm going to just read directly because I don't want to take anything out of context. I'm going to read directly from their website. I pulled it off of the website. This is the responsibilities of the Economic Development and Special Development Projects Committee per the City Council. And our current mayor-elect has been over this committee for the past 8 years. The Economic Development and Special Development Projects Committee reviews proposed economic development projects in which the city intends to become involved and invested. The committee examines the economic justification of the city's proposed involvement, the project's compliance with the city's disadvantaged business enterprise participation requirements, that's your DBE program, and development's commitment to local and equal opportunity employment, as well as the relative benefits and risk to the city and the developer. The committee also monitors projects currently in development in which the city has an interest and works with key area stakeholders in the economic development field to facilitate communication on economic development projects. Now, our current mayor-elect is the chair of this committee. So a couple days ago, it just kind of like popped in my mind. I was like, let's go see if they have another meeting, because during the election and during this year, as of this year, the last time I had checked during the election cycle, or right after, it was 9 meetings that had been canceled this year. Y'all, there's only 12 months. So there were 9 meetings that were canceled, and the other ones were like joint committee meetings where they joined with another committee so they would have a meeting. So I'm like, what is going on? Like, we don't have economic development in New Orleans. There were 2 articles that came out recently that I kind of pulled together, because during the election, I was walking downtown and I'm like, what is going down? What is going on downtown? There is no growth. All of these office buildings are empty. What is the deal? And so I was like, well, let me go look up who handles that committee. And so lo and behold, it is our mayor elect who sits as the chair on that committee. And so, as you see, the committee examines the economic justification for the city's involvement in projects compliance with the city's DBE program, the development's commitment to local and equal opportunity employment, as well as the relative benefits and risks to the city and the developer. So I'm like, okay, so they pull in, they try to recruit people to get here, and then they make sure that they fit with everything that's going on. Okay, great. Well, what's been happening? So I started doing a little research, and I was like, well, let's go look on council.nola.gov, because that's a resource for you all. So if you did not know, the council website, the legislative branch of the city of New Orleans, is council.nola.gov, council.nola.gov. So you can go there, you can subscribe to their emails, and you can get all the information. So I encourage you each to do that. And if you are not on the email list for the city of New Orleans, you can also go to nola.gov and scroll to the bottom of the page and subscribe for emails for the city of New Orleans. So that would be your legislative and your executive branch sending you emails for the city of New Orleans, so you don't have to look them up. And each resident really needs to do that, because number one, it'll keep you more informed. You're busy day to day with family or whatever you have to do, extracurricular activities. And so there's a lot of time where we don't get the information. And the only information we are getting is from the media. And let me just tell you this right now. The media is not our friends. They are not trying to be, in my opinion, open and honest and transparent. They talk about all this new transparency, but the media isn't transparent. And so I don't know how you can follow how you can cover, I'm not sorry, follow, you can cover a new administration when you already aren't being transparent and independent about it. So also, if you didn't know, our current mayor elect, and now I have nothing against her. I have absolutely nothing against her. I want them to be successful, but I don't believe you can be successful by gaslighting the residents on your way in. Like, you haven't even taken office yet and you're gaslighting the residents. And that's my problem. So the new word around the city of New Orleans, and I believe that they shared this word with everyone so that everyone would repeat it, because if they repeat it enough, then we would just go for the okie doke, but we're not going for the okie doke. So every media platform is saying this new administration is inheriting this. She's inheriting this. They're inheriting this. They're inheriting this. How can you inherit something when you were there for 8 years too? Whether you agree or not, you were part of the, what do we even call it? The drama at City Hall. Whether you agree or not, you were part of the drama at City Hall. Like, you can't fight by yourself, right? So the mayor isn't fighting by herself. She's fighting up against something. And so whether we agree or there's teams, because I'm not on anybody's team, I'm on team people. I'm like, who's doing the work of the people? I don't care who's doing what when they're off the clock. I want to know what's going on for the people. That's why I spoke up during the recall. And as we see now, I was right. Go figure. But if I was paying that much attention to say, hey, y'all, we have a problem, how can our council members not know? It is legit their job to know. And so this whole thing with the media saying that they inherited this problem is really gaslighting on a new level for the residents of the city of New Orleans. And I'm just like, we're not taking it anymore. So I don't know who is going to help share this information, but it's going to have to be us, y'all, because the media is acting like, we have a whole brand new administration coming in. No, we don't. Like, we really do not have a new administration coming in at all. I kind of think it's interesting that our new trio is the trio we have now. So our mayor, our CAO, and our president of the city council are our current 3 council members. So there is they're just moving from one side to the other. And for them all to say they had no idea with you leading so many committees between the 3 of you is nuts. Like, there is no way on God's green earth that None of you knew anything that was going on. And here's the crazy part of each of it. And all of this information is in here, is in the book. So make sure you get the book. The city council has oversight authority by law. So that means just like you see the Congress is doing investigations, you're like, oh, they're doing an investigation on this. Oh, they're doing an investigation. Our city council has that same authority. So they can do an investigation on anything that they wished. So if there was an issue with the budget, or the CFO and the CAO weren't on the same page about numbers, don't you think that's a good time to call in an investigation to say, hey, I have to represent the people. I should be getting the correct information to make sure I give our residents the correct information. So to say that you had nothing to do with this for all these years is just ludicrous. So it means you either weren't doing your job or you were just not paying attention. I mean, well, that's the same thing. Not doing your job or just malfeasance, basically, because it's by law that you're supposed to do it. And how do I know it's by law? Because I read the city charter and I summarized it for each and every one of you. So when we know what the laws are, and what they're actually supposed to be doing, they can't lie to us anymore. And so that's the point that we need to get, because we're being lied to. New Orleans, you're being lied to. And it's time we open our eyes and wake up. The era of sweeping stuff under the rug is over. It's over. We're not taking it anymore. We are not taking it anymore. And it's so encouraging to read under a lot of these media platforms that people are literally like, stop lying to us, like, stop lying to us. So it's really encouraging to see that. So back to economic development. So that is actually, I'm going to read it really quickly again. The Economic Development and Special Developments Project Committee reviews proposed economic development projects in which the city intends to become involved and invested. So does that mean that we don't have any projects going on in the city of New Orleans? There's no economic development? Because what I did to research this is, like I said, again, I went on council.nola.gov. And so I went under I went under committees. And you can do this for anything. I went under committees, and then I went, and it shows you all, it goes through each committee, and it shows you who's the chair, who's on the committee, and the next meeting dates. And so it said no meeting. And I was like, okay, well, let's see when the next one, when the last one was. And so I'm like, you have got to be kidding. We are still in the same situation of not having meetings. So I'm going to show y'all how I got to it. So this is the phone. And then you hit more right at the top, and then you hit committees. It'll show you all the committees, standing committees. So the first one is budget audit and board review. We'll talk about that in a minute. Climate change and sustainability committee. She also chairs that. And if you scroll down a couple, you'll see economic development and special development projects committee. So when I click on that, it now takes me to what I just read to each and every one of you, what they're responsible for. And then it says meetings, upcoming meetings, no meeting scheduled. And then it says past meetings. Well, can y'all see all this red? Can y'all see all the red? Those are canceled meetings for economic development. All the red. So I know y'all can see the red at this point. Anything you see in red is a canceled meeting. So I was like, you cannot be serious. So I was like, well, let's count them up. So it only goes back to November 2018. So I was like, well, let's sit here and count them. And so I went and counted them. There were 99 meetings since November 2018 to date, when I counted them, which was 2 days ago, and there hasn't been a new meeting. And 40 of the 99 meetings were canceled. There's no economic development going on in New Orleans since 2018. Well, we can see that there wasn't, because there's nothing growing. And you have people leaving and people losing their jobs, and we have lack of industry. So in all those years, 40% of the meetings that you chaired were canceled. I just think that's an ironic situation to be in, being now you are legit leading in another role, economic development in the city of New Orleans, saying that you had nothing to do with any of this. Well, I guess you had nothing to do with any of this because you weren't there either. So what were they during this time? Well, we do know that the city council did pay attention to the Pontalba story, excuse me, and of course, the mayor's extracurricular activities. Now, I personally don't care about the mayor's extracurricular activities. I would have personally been more focused on the budget and what was going on in the JJIRR, because that is the roads project, the federal government. And so, as we see now, that was another $120 million in the hole where they weren't getting the funds refunded from the city, from the federal government. They were actually using general funds. But you're on the budget committee. So how don't you know, or how aren't you watching where the funds are going, or why aren't you asking questions if there isn't any information? Because you are literally our second line of defense. Remember, we have checks and balances, right? And so if the city council isn't balancing, knowing that the mayor was already dealing with so much, we all know the mayor had a lot on her plate. We all knew it. We did the recall. Like, we could see it from a mile away, right? We all knew something was going on with the mayor. We all knew that she was under federal investigation. We all knew that stuff was going on there. So if you don't believe her enough with regard to her travel, then why would you not do start the investigative process, which is in your authority with regard to our budget, if you're getting so much, and you say funny numbers. And so the numbers, it wasn't just for 1 year. We find out this is years of this, but you were the same oversight authority for these years. So to say that you had no accountability in this, I just believe is very misleading. It is very gaslighting, and to act like you just didn't know anything. Is that malfeasance in office for you? So did you work there, you do what you want to do, you played your pet projects, and you just like kept it moving as long as you had like positive things going on in the community and making sure that you were running for whatever elected office you were running for the next time, right? So I just wanted to put that on your I wanted to put that on your radar, because when you're reading the news in New Orleans, please make sure you also read independent media and you come to different sources and not just the, your basic 468 or wherever else, because I have not found, especially six. It's crazy because six is where our former mayor used to work, as well as our CAO's girlfriend works at WDSU. The former CAO's girlfriend works at WDSU. And so it's just interesting to me to see how that they report on this, knowing that, number one, the new administration is their friend, worked with them literally, and that the outgoing CEO who had all of these issues is literally dating someone who works there. So our media is all entrenched in this too. And so if you believe that they are just giving out the truth unadulterated, please get your head out the gutter. We have got to do our own research in the city of New Orleans, because they are not helping us out at all, nor do they want to help us out. So with that being said, and I was talking about economic development, I want to get like more like entrenched into it. And so I'm going to give you a little bit of piece of these two articles that I found. And so this was between October and a couple days ago. So two of New Orleans' most iconic office towers, the Hancock Whitney Center, and y'all remember that as like one Shell Square, right downtown. I know it had been sold multiple times, but Shell was originally, when they were big in the city, and we had oil here. We did digging. They were the big city, the big white building on Poydras. That is the Hancock Whitney Center, and 400 Poydras. They are a couple blocks closer to the river. It's a dark black building, kind of, I guess, black granite. And so just kind of give you an idea what the buildings are. They have defaulted on their debt, deepening the city's downtown office crisis. Both are owned by Hertz Investment Group and are now under control of special servicers after the company failed to repay their loans at maturity. Oh, geez. So this situation is made worse by Shell's Oil's planned departure from the Hancock Whitney Center in 2027. So that's in a year and something, which will remove about 1/3 of the building's tenants and create a massive vacancy in an already oversupplied market. So I don't know if y'all walked downtown recently, but I have, and a lot of the buildings are empty, like under construction or this, that, and the other. And you're like, New Orleans is what's going on, because they're not having these conversations, at least not with the residents. And I'm just confused as to why we've had 40 out of 99 economic development meetings uh, canceled when we clearly have a crisis with developers in downtown. Like, what is going on? The defaults reflect a broader national collapse in the office sector, especially for buildings financed through commercial mortgage backed securities. Hertz, once known for reviving struggling downtown towers, has seen its strategy collapse after the pandemic shifted work habits and refinancing became nearly impossible. While a few new leases are bringing limited relief, experts say the future of these towers likely depend on mixed use or residential conversion. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? They're saying that they are going to bring more mixed use and residential conversion to downtown. So they are seeing a lot of these office towers that have been are really about to have been undergo what do you call it? Have undergone default. Thank you. I just want to make sure I got the word right. Undergone default. Their best option is to switch over to residency, to make condos and more apartments downtown, because we have not done a good enough job with bringing in new economic development to the city of New Orleans, where they had a need for office space. So now these spaces are looking to be converted into different things. And so we see this with the what was that, the Whitney Bank building downtown, that actually was converted into apartments. And so uh they remember, because they didn't have air conditioning for a couple days, and so they had to like walk people down the stairs because they didn't have electricity or something like that. So we have a lot of issues. It's one of I'm reading one of the residents. I'm reading some of the comments. I say that's why they're sending them back to. Don't let them lie. We need help finding owners to fix or sell. We do. We 100% do. We need people to come into New Orleans and to help rebuild, but we need to be very discerning on who we choose to do that. The Airbnb regulations hurt their profits. Exactly. And so they're also saying that with the Airbnb switching back. And so I'm glad you said that, because that is going to switch me into the next part of this economic development conversation of the city of New Orleans, the hotel market. So we just talked about the office buildings and the offices. And so now we're going to speak quickly on the hotel market in New Orleans, because what are we known for? We're known for tourism. You think, oh, the hotel market is always great. No, it's not. And not enough people are talking about it. So the New Orleans hotel market is in a sharp downturn. The New Orleans hotel market is experiencing one of its most turbulent periods in over a decade, with several major high-profile hotels being sold. Yes, the whole hotel being sold at steep, y'all got hotel price money, at steep discounts compared to both their original construction cost and their pre-pandemic valuations. This has created one of the most buyer-friendly hotel markets the city has seen in years. Remember I told y'all New Orleans was going through a cleanse? I had no idea how it was going to happen, but like starting to connect all of these dots is really like a trip. The situation is best illustrated by Virgin Hotels. Now we all know Virgin Hotels, right? That was built downtown on Brown Street. I think it was like the maybe 500 block of Brown Street. And it was supposed to be like all this new swanky stuff right behind, like 2 blocks behind City Hall. I mean, not City Hall, Gallery Hall. And it said it was built just 4 years ago. I know, it's like, because I just remember it being built. The Virgin Hotel was built 4 years ago for about $80 million and now expected to sell for roughly half of that amount. The hotel's financial collapse wiped out investors in the Skybridge EJF Opportunity Zone REIT, highlighting broader weaknesses in the Federal Opportunity Zones program, which was intended to spur economic development, but instead funded many high-end real estate projects that are now struggling. So my point And I'm also going to say this. So who was over our economic development committee 4 years ago? I'm connecting all the dots that I was talking about. I'm putting them all together. Okay, because it was just built 4 years ago. So your key forces driving the downturn. My point is not saying that they're a bad person. My point is saying that they weren't paying enough attention to the things that we need them to be paying attention to. And now they're leading us. And they're not saying, hey, oh, my bad, I didn't pay attention to this, I'm going to do better. That's not what they're saying. They're kind of like, oh, I didn't know anything about any of this. Oh my gosh, it is all her fault. Well, she's the executive branch, but you're the legislative branch. So you had a part in the responsibility to this, and to say that you didn't is crazy. So the key forces driving the downturn in the city of New Orleans: rising insurance premiums and property taxes. I think we all know about those. High interest rates, restricting refinancing options, slower post-COVID recovery in group travel, years of lenders using extended pretend tactics to delay inevitable losses, which are now ending. So they're all coming at the same time. Sounds like the city of New Orleans. Other major discounted sales. So this isn't just the Virgin Hotel. We were talking about multiple hotels. So if y'all got hotel money, let me tell you what was being sold. The Hilton St. Charles sold for $47 million. And when you think of hotel, you probably think it costs more than that. But I'm like, these aren't like, terrible prices. Y'all, let's put in $1. Let's go get a hotel. Hilton St. Charles Hotel for $47 million, well below its prior $59 million purchase. So that's a $12 million cut. Y'all, guess what else sold? Did y'all know this? Because I sure didn't know this. And so I may be late to the game. So excuse me. But the Ritz-Carlton in the Courtyard Marriott, a total of 758 rooms, it was sold. Did y'all know the Ritz-Carlton was sold? I didn't. Maybe I just didn't pay attention to it. But the Ritz-Carlton in the Courtyard Marriott, 758 rooms, were sold for about $195 million, far below inflation-adjusted construction cost. Guess what? Do y'all have money for y'all remember Le Pavillon? I used to go for brunch sometimes with my dad and my family, and so it has a special place in my heart. But the Le Pavillon Hotel is under contract for about $43 million, a 1/3 drop from its price 10 years ago. So y'all want to put an offer on the Le Pavillon? Just let them know if you can do a little bit more than about 43 million. They'll probably give it to you. And last but not least, the Loews, Troubadour, Mercantile, and the QNC Hotel, they've also been shopped. So if you're interested in buying a hotel in the city of New Orleans, guess what? They are on the market. And when your hotels are on the market like this, y'all, come on, you're still in the race. We're claiming it. Yes, let's claim it. Y'all, I mean, not trying to be funny, but these aren't like 200 and some million dollars. Like let's all call a friend. We could buy a New Orleans hotel. But this is, I don't know. It's just funny to me because these are the conversations that I really believe our elected leaders should be having with us, like the real state of New Orleans and what's going on. And this is not what they're talking about. We are having a downturn in our downtown, and we need to get it together. So some are seeing opportunity. Of course, it's like a fire sale. Wouldn't you see an opportunity? Despite the turmoil, some brokers argue that this is the best hotel buying environment in New Orleans in 10 years. I guess so. If you had money, if you had millions of dollars in your pocket, and hotels were going for a couple $1 million compared to the 100 millions, they said some of them were sold at a third of the price. Like, that's crazy. They have a strong future. Convention bookings projected through 2030. They said they have very limited new hotel construction. Please don't build a hotel in New Orleans. Please don't take one of these buildings that people want to that these downtown developers, these office buildings, please convert that into a hotel before y'all start building things. We should not let another hotel be built in New Orleans until they deal with some of these buildings. Like, we really, legit should not, because they're building all of these spaces and we don't have enough people to, number one, live here, because everybody's been leaving because our government has not taken care of us. And two, it costs too much. And so now you're going to build more downtown stuff. I just kind of really see this turning into like a Miami where you have all of these people from all over the world buy condos and apartments and things, and like it just becomes more and more, and then we're like shipped in and railed in, to take care of their needs. And so I don't know. That's just what I'm seeing, and I just don't like it. So, let me go back to why some see opportunity. Strong future convention bookings projected through 2030, very limited new hotel construction, and a crackdown on illegal short-term rentals. I know somebody was talking about A and B, so here's your piece: pushing more demand back to licensed hotels. So that will, number one, help the crackdown on the short-term rentals. So it will help the hotel industry, but it's not going to help them to get through this. So what happens next? Most current owners are holding on, cutting costs, and hoping for lower interest rates or a meaningful rebound in demand. So hopefully New Orleans gets hot because we need to. They say, meanwhile, investors with available capital are positioned to acquire prime properties at prices not seen since the Great Recession. Yes, the next 2 years will be critical in determining whether today's low prices are a temporary dip or a lasting reset of hotel values in New Orleans. So I know that was a lot. And if you weren't here for all of it, I'm going to make it short. The hotel industry in New Orleans is on a downturn, and so is our office building space. What's going to happen? They're selling these hotels off at much cheaper prices. And a lot of these office buildings, they are looking to convert into apartments and condos in downtown New Orleans. And so haven't they been building enough stuff downtown? Like we've seen all these new apartment buildings and stuff. Like, let me give you an idea. The one over what was it, by the Advocate? Remember how the Advocate bought that building on, what is that? On St. Charles Avenue. Actually, it's on St. Charles Avenue. So the Advocate's on one side, and I think like right by it, there's like this apartment building, and there's supposed to be like these luxury apartments on St. Charles Avenue, da 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 da. Y'all, that went into, I don't want to say default or whatever they went to, but they're having to sell it because they couldn't afford the property, didn't have enough people paying for it. We do. You're having all these $3,000-$4,000 apartments, and you don't have people here who can afford that. So who's going to buy them? And our current chair of economic development on the city council canceled 40 meetings of 99 since 2018. So that's a 40%. You cancel 40% of your meetings. So there's been, what's been going on with economic development in the city of New Orleans? Well, your guess is as good as mine. And so this is a trail that I'm going to stay on. I'm going to be looking at economic development throughout the city because, number one, development, business development is like one of my things, and under economic development is the DBE program. And so if y'all don't know, I did DBE and MBE certification for small businesses. So it's near and dear to my heart that, number one, I don't feel like the residents had enough attention paid to them with educating them on the program and how they could participate in the program, as well as the developers and things that are going on in the city and actually outreach, trying to get more economic development for the city of New Orleans in these past 8 years so that we could get some movement and we wouldn't be where we are now. So I'm going to be doing some digging in that because I don't know. And I'll start giving some more DBE information. I don't know if you really want to do business with the city of New Orleans right now because they don't have no money. But I will say getting your DBE certification is important. And what I'm going to encourage everybody to do, actually, that'll be my next show. I will kind of put it in steps so people can walk it through. So if you're interested in your DBE or actually your MBE or any of it, getting your certifications, I'm going to do that on Thursday's show at 6 p.m. So show up here on Instagram, TikTok, or Podbean, or YouTube. I'm live on all of these. And we can walk through that, get a pen and paper, and I'll probably put some notes for you as well because I don't know, it's just small businesses are really near and dear to my heart. I do not believe that our city officials have given enough priority to them, and now we're just being taken advantage of. And I don't like people taken advantage of. Like, I don't like it, and I speak up about it. And some people like it, and some people don't. But I really don't care. Like I say, some people try to put me in a box. You can't put me in a box because I'm not a Democrat and I'm not a Republican. I am Eileen. I'm quite no party. And so, with that being the case, I don't have a side. My side is the people. Are you going to do right for the people? And that's really all I care about. When I see our people being taken advantage of, then I'm going to say something. And so, if I can say something and, help somebody else, then that's what I'm going to do. So, I did do MBE and DBE certification at I did the outreach at Louisiana Minority Supplier Development Council. I was there for 2 years and I worked in their grant program. And so when I left, I started that in my own business. And so maybe I'll get back to that with helping people get their DBE certifications. And so when I say that, I'm going to give you this little short version because that's a whole other conversation of DBE certification. When I say the stuff about the city of New Orleans and not being able to pay their bills right now, but you should still get the certification because you should, especially if you fit in the criteria, you should definitely get the certification because it's like an insurance policy. I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. And so how the state of Louisiana is set up, I didn't know I was going to go through all this, but here we go. How the state of Louisiana is set up, I'm going to teach you how to do it once. Ding. So the DBE program, there's a DBE program in the city of New Orleans, and there's a DBE program for the state of Louisiana. And so you can get your DBE through the state and get reciprocity through the city and never have to deal with the city of New Orleans. Yes, that is a little bit of game. And so if you're in the industry, you know that. But if you're not, then you don't. And so I'm going to show you how to walk your DBE process through the state of Louisiana under Division 2. And then that certification, all you have to do is take that and send the paperwork to the city of New Orleans, and then you will get reciprocity in the city of New Orleans. So you don't even have to deal with the people of the city of New Orleans to get your DBE stuff here. Isn't that great? I know that's some random information that most people don't know. But when you work with me, you do know that. And so people that I work with, I'm like, we're not even going through the city of New Orleans. We're going to go through the state. We're going to get your DBE there. You're going to get reciprocity with the city of New Orleans, and then you can use it everywhere. And so that's with Sewage and Water Board. They have a DBE, Caesars, and so does the RTA and the airport. And so they all do like their long story short, you're going to have reciprocity and be able to use it through all of the functions through the city of New Orleans. They don't have to deal with New Orleans people. And it'll be much more, I don't want to say efficient, faster. I'll say that. Faster. It'll be faster. Okay, so that was economic development for the city of New Orleans. So now y'all know why it's something that I pay attention to because it's something I've lived with, or lived through. And my parents I come from an entrepreneurship family. My parents both had small businesses. And so I've just always been like a champion for small businesses in any way that I can, make their lives easier because, it's hard to be a small business, especially I've just seen them work, throughout their years. And so anything that we can do to help each other, we should definitely share the information to make sure that everybody can just get good information, especially now with what's going on in our new administration and our media. They gaslight us, and so gaslight no more. So Thursday, 6 p.m., I'm going to break down the DBE process through the state of Louisiana and get reciprocity for the city. So do not miss that. Did not know that that's what we were doing Thursday, but thank you, Lord. That's what we're doing. So that's a little bit about economic development, and why I wanted to really talk about that is because, like I said, it's something that I love, as well as I don't feel like our current administration on either side, executive or legislative, have really been paying attention to the small business needs in the city of New Orleans. And I believe we are what's going to get us through. The small businesses in New Orleans that grow from like small businesses to mid-sized businesses, I believe we're going to get our own city turning. And when we can do that, we can be a stronger New Orleans, and we don't have to even worry about them because we can take care of each other. Right? And so that's what we are going to do, take care of our tribe. So if all of our small businesses are straight, our back offices aren't straight, and that means like your paperwork, we can be stronger. And, that's always how they get you, right? They get you with your back office paperwork. So we're going to make sure that you get all your paperwork in order. So We can all live the good life in New Orleans and rebuild. We want a revival in New Orleans. We don't want all this nonsense. And so last but not least today, y'all are going to love this. So I didn't even know I was going to be on here all long. But anyway, a resident question. Y'all will love this. So, y'all, I really do love residents questions. So if you have a question, you want to DM me, please DM me. I will probably do a post about it. I'll send it to you personally, and then I'll probably send a post about it, because if you have the question, other people do. And so this was a really great question. I did a post about it this week, and so I wanted to share it with each and every one of you. So the resident question was, the city council budget committee plays what part in the budget process? So you've seen how New Orleans has gone through, oh my gosh, the probably one of the worst budget seasons that we've seen in like tens of years. And so with that being the case, you have the executive branch who is over the day-to-day duties of the city for each department. And then you also have the the legislative branch who's over the budget process on the city council. Hence, they have an entire committee, right? If they weren't responsible for it, then why do you have an entire committee, right? An entire committee. Yes, please DM me. And so it's really funny that they keep going on television saying we had no idea about this. We had no idea. I'm like, did you ask? But did you ask? And so it's like I feel like it's having a conversation with a toddler because they want to walk all around it because they don't want to like take accountability. But I'm like, did you ask like the next question? Like legit, there's another question. If somebody just says, yes, I did it, well, show me you did it, right? Like show me. But they didn't do any of that. And so here we are. So New Orleans just got its budget passed on December 1st. It was required by law to pass the budget. And so they did that. They did that with extra funding, incoming money that the current mayor was like, no, we didn't have time to vet that. We're not doing that. But then the new administration that's coming was like, forget that. The city council is going to do A, B, and C. And so it was just a lot. So bring you up to date. The city of New Orleans for 2025, $160 million deficit. New Orleans, that's 2025, $160 million deficit. We talk about 2026, $222 million deficit. So our current mayor-elect who sits on the budget committee says that she's trying to get us out of this mess in 1 to 2 years. Clearly, it can't be one because we already see how that played out. What 2026 looks like, and then our legislative auditor from the state said probably about 3 to 4 years to get out of this. So that would be her entire term. Let's see. So back to the resident question. I just wanted to give you a little bit of context for the question. So the city council budget committee, they say, what part does it play in the budget process? So according to the city charter, because y'all know I'm giving you everything by law. I'm not giving it to you if it's not by law. And all of this information is in my book too. The city council budget committee plays what part in the budget process? According to the city charter, the budget committee is responsible for continuous review of revenues, spending, audits, and the fiscal impact of all major decisions. So I'm going to read that sentence again for you. According to the city charter, the budget committee is responsible for continuous review of revenues, spending, audits, and the fiscal impact of all major decisions. Given the size and severity of the budget crisis we are now facing, it is fair for the public to ask whether that level of oversight truly happened in real time or whether warning signs were missed. The system failed to protect taxpayers from a predictable financial crash. How do we know it was predictable? Because the CFO kept telling us it was going to happen since 2024. And under the charter, this committee is the primary guardrail against exactly this kind of failure. So if that committee isn't doing their job, there's going to be failure because they're the guardrail. What the committee is legally responsible for. By the charter, this committee must closely review monthly revenue and spending, flag risk early, evaluate budget amendments, assess fiscal impacts of ordinances and contracts, oversee audits and management findings, ensure realistic budgeting, not just balanced on paper budgets. Their role is not passive, it is preventative, corrective, and supervisory. Do y'all think our current city council budget committee was supervisory? That's their job per the city charter, if you didn't know. So the reality New Orleans is facing. The city is now dealing with a massive structural budget shortfall, unexpected funding gaps, emergency right-sizing measures, potential job cuts and service reductions. No, we are dealing with job cuts and service reductions because you have 730 something, approximately 750 workers, city workers who are going to be furloughed 1 day a week for their pay period. And as a city worker who was furloughed during COVID, that's not fun. We were furloughed 10% of our income, and as a single mother, it was not fun. And what's your other option? It's your job. So do you go get another job? And now you know how many people they're already eliminating jobs. So it's not like it's an easy job market because you have approximately like 200 more people out on the streets, not out on the streets literally, but out now trying to get jobs because they're about to lose jobs. So where are all these jobs going to come from in the city of New Orleans? Where are all these people going to work? I'm just wondering. A crisis of this size does not happen overnight. So it develops under multiple budget cycles. So who has been there for 8 years on the budget committee? Our mayor-elect. Who has been there for 8 years? Our budget chairman, our new CAO. Who's been there for 4 years? Our council president. Now, it doesn't matter who the name is or who the person. It matters that they've been there for that amount of time and they didn't know anything. So we can truthfully say that if you were reviewing monthly reports as required by law per the city charter, the warning signs should have been visible. If fiscal impacts were fully weighed, some spending, borrowing, or project acceleration should have been slowed or restructured sooner. If audit findings were aggressively enforced, weak financial controls should have been corrected a long time before now, especially if you've been there for 8 years, because that's what we hired you to do. Doesn't that mean that this does not mean that every individual member acted in bad faith, but it does suggest a systematic failure of oversight, not just an administrative mistake. So everybody wants to say there was just administrative. I'm waiting, like, who is going to investigate how we got here and not just say, oh, we're just going to put a Band-Aid on it and fix it, by the media not speaking about it, because they feel like if we don't talk about it, then we don't have to say anything. And if the media stops asking questions, who's their friends, then they don't have to answer the questions. So who's going to ask them the questions? And so with all of that, I say if you have any information with regard to the city's contracting program, or you worked for the city and there was any, issues, there is an email that they are asking for us to send information to. And so that email, I know y'all can see it. I'm showing it to y'all now, but I'm going to read it to you, and I'll actually put it in my stories. It's posted on my platforms, but I'll post it again. Actually, when I get off here, I'll post it again. Yes, they knew and they didn't care. Exactly. They knew and they didn't care. You know why they didn't care? Because it was election season coming up. And a lot of people, it's crazy because a lot of people were asking me, they were like, oh, they should get the CAO. They should put him in there and they should question him. I'm like, they're not going to question the CAO. And they had some people who were like upset at me for saying that. But I'm like, they were on team CAO. Why would they question him, call him to the table? Because he's going to say, They were on the same team. It was the mayor and the CFO and the CAO and the city council. Those were your two teams. The mayor and the CFO were right. The CAO and the city council were wrong. That's your answer. So the city council was never going to call in Gilbert Montano to come in and ask questions. They weren't. They were his buddies. And they thought they found a friend in him in the administration, and so they just wanted to believe everything he said. But clearly he did not tell them the truth. And they didn't do any investigation until September when he was leaving. They put in a request to have an investigation when he was leaving. They could have done that in January, February. They just didn't. That should make you think. Why didn't they? So the legislative auditor is requesting public input, and they say your voice matters. Residents, workers, and vendors of the city of New Orleans. If you've experienced delays in city payments, noticed anything weird going on, or illegal that should not have been going on, or people who are like taking advantage of other people, workplace inaccuracies, notice service cutbacks, or have questions about how funds are managed, or something about funds are being managed, share your story, please. And all the information will not be made public. This information will not be made public. The legislative auditor wants to hear from you, and that email is nola@lla.la.gov. nola@lla.la.gov. And so I'm going to post this on all of my platforms, on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube when I get off of here. But we have to look out for each other, and we have to speak up. The name of this show was Open Your Eyes. And so there's so many things that are literally in front of our face, and we just take it for granted because we're like, oh, it's always been that way. Well, now's the time to change it. Because if we don't do anything or we don't say anything, then nothing is going to change. Nothing's going to happen. And so that's the place that we are. Even during the election, people are like, why should I vote? It's not going to change. Well, my dad won by my dad was an elected official. He won one of his races by approximately 33 votes. And so every vote matters. If a certain number of people didn't come to vote for him, we would have totally lived a different life. And so for me, voting matters, especially on the local level. You feel it a lot quicker. And in New Orleans, I think we're seeing that now. We had a lot of people, when we did the recall, they were like, let that lady live. Don't worry about her. Let her go do what she wants to do. Well, we see the repercussions for that, right? When our elected officials are not working for us, the city falls apart. Literally. And so when the branch of government, the legislative branch, who's supposed to do the check, be the balance, isn't balancing, and they aren't doing their job in oversight, then we see you have a whole nother catastrophic problem. So that is the place that we find the city of New Orleans right now. We are in a catastrophic problem on multiple levels. We just talked about it kind of just with our administration. I broke it down today with regard to economic development. Our current mayor-elect has been the chair of the Economic Development Committee for the past 8 years. We are having a huge downturn in our hotel industry in the city of New Orleans. They're being sold at firehouse prices. And you also see the office spaces in the city of New Orleans dwindling. Downtown looks crazy. Like knowing what it looked like when I grew up and then seeing it now, it's just really sad, to be perfectly honest. The whole change in downtown. And so we have not adjusted well to the size of our city and right sizing us. And so now they're looking to, with regard to the office buildings, put more maybe apartments or condos downtown. And who can y'all afford those? Can y'all afford those? We can't even keep some of our outlying apartment complexes livable for our residents. We're not even doing that right now. And so, I have a problem with that. Economic development is my thing. And so I will speak up to those things that are my thing, as well as to make sure that each and every one of you get the information that you need as best as I can help do it. So before I leave, I want to give you those two websites. Again, the city of New Orleans is nola.gov. If you want to subscribe to any of their emails, just go down to the bottom, hit subscribe, and you can choose whatever department emails you want, as well as the city council of New Orleans is council.nola.gov. And you can scroll to the bottom of that webpage, and you can also subscribe to their emails, and whatever committees you're interested in, you can get emails sent directly to you for that. So I want to give you information so you don't have to search information. The information should come to you. And then on Thursday, this Thursday, I'm going to break down the DBE program. So that'll be fun because, I haven't done that in a while. So we'll get back into the DBE program and how you can go through the state of Louisiana through District 2 and get reciprocity in New Orleans. So you don't have to do it twice. You can do it once and you can get the certification for the state of Louisiana and the city of New Orleans at the same time. Because I believe in working smarter, not harder. I'm not one of those people. So if I know a trick, I'm going to give it to you. And I learned that when I was working through LMSDC. So I want to make sure y'all have all of that information. And before I let you go, last but not least, if you do want to contact me or you have or want to partner, because again, I'm saying we are doing the spiritual takeover challenge, walking your neighborhood, spiritually taking back your neighborhood. If you don't know that we live in a spiritual world, you are already 100 years behind. So, they knocking you around like a pinball and you don't even know what's going on. So wake up call. Open your eyes. We live in a spiritual world. Everything is spiritual. It is what it is. We live in like the Truman Show meets the Matrix. Yes. And when you can figure out that that's what we live in, your eyes are going to be like, and then you can't unsee what you see. And so you do have a lot of people who are like asleep. Like they'd be like, oh, awakened. Well, that's what they mean because you like walking around asleep because you just can't see what's in front of your face. So I'm encouraging everyone in New Orleans to open their eyes, to get in the game, and let's take our city back because New Orleans deserves it. Our people deserve it. And we just, our children deserve it. So with that being said, if you want to partner with me, you can email me at faithandpolitics504@gmail.com. Phone number is 504-434-2827, Monday through Friday, 9 through 4. You can sponsor, partner, or any community solutions. Please DM me, email me, any of that. Again, like I said, my business is Carter Business Development, a strategic development and consulting firm. I do strategic plans, brands, rebrands, launch civic engagement initiatives, build communication, engagement campaigns. Of course, we have the podcast. You're listening to it now. We have the book, Faith in Politics. I do mock elections with our youth, which I think is really fun, and they find it fun too. And civic workshops. I have 3 seminars. I have faith and leadership, because if you don't know, I do walk with the Lord. So that's kind of my number one thing, faith and leadership. I have government 101 and I have community power. And because we hold the power and we just kind of like forgot about it along the way. And so I want to remind residents that we have the power. We are the people who put them in office. And just after they're elected, they cannot ignore us and forget about us. And we've seen that too many times, but it is not going to happen again on my watch. I'm going to say as much as I can and share as much information as I can to help each and every one of you, because I want a better city for myself and my children and generations to come. So with that, thanks so much for tuning in to Faith in Politics with me, Eileen. I will see you all Thursday right here, same time, 6 p.m. And we are going to discuss the DBE program. I'm going to walk you through the process. And so that'll be fun. And so if you have any questions between now and then, please DM me. I do resident questions and answers. As you saw, the resident question was how does the budget committee play a role in the budget process? And so that's what I broke down now. There is a corresponding post to that question. I think I posted a day or two ago just to make sure that y'all had time to kind of review it. But I will answer your questions, and there's no crazy question, because if you have it, someone else definitely does as well. So thanks so much for tuning in, and I appreciate y'all, and I'll see y'all later. I'm out. Bye, TikTok. Bye, IG. And of course, my favorite, YouTube. Thanks so much for tuning in, YouTube. I appreciate each and every one of you. And I look forward to doing some more short videos on here with maybe some how-tos. So let me know what you're interested in, and we will make sure we get those done. Talk to y'all soon. I'm out.